Yo, what's going on, everybody? AA Ryan here, and welcome back to PanNerdia, and welcome back to another Better Call Saul Season 5 breakdown. And we're getting into Episode 2 tonight, titled 50% Off. Man, what episode. And there was plenty in there. It was chock full of stuff. Action, comedy, those Breaking Bad-esque things you love, but also the very Saul things you've come to love. Because, man, this show is like... This episode proves that this show is top tier. You will notice I am solo this evening. No Raider Pete, but he will be back and joining the conversation next week. Actually, when the show's back on regular schedule as well, which will be Monday nights. But here we are, jumping right into the episode and starting off with a montage like the great Heisenverse does. This one with a drug montage. It kind of playing off the scene from last night's episode where Saul had his tent and at the end ran out of phones but needed to keep everybody there, hence the title of the episode, 50% Off. He handed out the card saying that you can get 50% off with your next felony or whatever, next charge, which these two doofuses essentially are like, what, 50% off? That's awesome. That means there's like only half. And so they go and get in a bunch of crazy shit, drugging and doing all sorts of hooting and hollering. And, man, it was actually really funny. Like, it was a great montage, and it was just, it kept me entertained, that's for sure. But we will come back to those characters later. That was just the opening scene. We then get to, we're inside Nacho's house. It's at night. One of his girls is passed out in the living room. The other one's in bed with him. And he's just having a nice slumber and, gets woken up in the middle of the freaking night by one of the Gus's dudes. I forget the guy's name. The guy gets his neck slit back in Breaking Bad. But him and the other guy, too, they both step in, wake his ass up in the middle of the night. And I'm just like, hell no. Hell to the no. Like, F that, man. Like, break it. I mean, he has a gun right on his nightstand, but, like, it's almost like you put that there almost not expecting to use it, kind of. But, so it freaks him out, but, of course, he kind of snaps into, he wakes up. But what a great scene acted by Michael Mondo, who is Nacho. Man, it was great. Like, just the look on his face. Good shouts out to him in general in this episode. He does a really great job as the episode goes on. But they essentially snatch him up in the middle of the night, take him to where, pull like a Todd, where they take him and show his father, Nacho's father, to him. Old boy gets out of the car, box cutter, gets out of the car. I always forget that guy's name. Out of the car and goes into the restaurant like he's going to go kill Nacho's dad. And, of course, the thugs are holding him. And then before anything happens, Gus steps in, old boy's seat, and pretty much explains to him without having to explain anything what the situation is, and that Lalo needs to be watched, and that Nacho needs to earn his trust. And it's not just needs to for himself; he needs to for his family's sake, and that's where Gus really gets into his Breaking Bad role that we all know. Granted, he's already been pretty much full Gus evil, all of Saul, but we can see the family threatening, goes back as far as where Saul's taking place. So that was real intense, too. And the acting, of course, was really great. But so Nacho's got to earn Lalo's trust. And then we get a little scene where it's like Kim and Jimmy, Saul, starting off their day, and Saul is taking a bunch of calls. He's already packing in the closet, taking up more than his half with all of his crazy clown suits, and Kim's just kind of in awe, and still kind of, I think, ruffled with what happened last episode and how that case with the guy taking the 5 months was handled, But before she leaves, Saul jumps in the car and is like, "Hey, let's go check this house real quick. Only take a few minutes. Let's go check it out." So they go actually just kind of browsing a house that's for sale. And it's a nice scene because at first she's a little apprehensive, but then just the way Jimmy is, and she kind of always falls back in, not in love in that terms, but like she just falls head over heels when he's being him, It's just his way of kind of cheering her up, right? And they have a good time, and it's a good scene. And it's nice to see that because we all know at some point something's happening between him and Kim, and so it's like, and we're starting to see shadows of that this season already. So it's kind of nice to be like, it's not going to go completely downhill right away. They got some good moments still going. But, yeah, we then get some Lalo and Tio, a.k.a. Hector Salamanca, the Salamanca family moment here, as he's kind of talking to Hector kind of about the situation and what he's thinking is really going on with Gus, because Lalo's not really having that, you know what I'm saying? But they are having some drinks, and he keeps slipping Hector some booze in his vitamin fizz, berry flavored, his favorite, according to the nurse. But interesting scene because they're kind of coming to the point that it's all about the money with Gus, and he's going to go through extreme lengths to cover up and hide anything that has to do with his money. Apparently he's a businessman. So just like old boy said last episode, the other Don. So we then kind of, from one boozer to the next, we get Mike kind of waking up from a drunk stupor. Who knows how long he was out. You see beer cans all over the place, and he's getting called by his daughter-in-law to ask emergency take care of Kylie. So he goes over right away. Of course, he's probably a little hungover. And it kind of shows as it seems like everything's going good, but as soon as Kylie starts kind of asking questions about her father, I guess with him being hungover and kind of being in the place he is lately with Gus and everything, he's not really having it. He kind of loses it. Unfortunately, he takes it out on Kylie with shouting at her and scares her, and he kind of, pouts off too once her mom gets home. So it was interesting. Again, we're kind of seeing how Mike's getting affected by Gus too, and you could tell. I think Mike last episode kind of was hoping he'd be out by then, and it was unfortunate that he's got to get pulled back in. But Gus was straight up like, "We are not done. Things will continue." So I think Mike's like, "Fuck, I'm getting paid still, but I'm not doing anything. But I don't really want to be doing this, but he's paying me, so I keep doing this. I'm trapped." Mike's trapped, and I think this is kind of what this season's going to show. That's in fact what he is. He's trapped, man. But we then get the 50% off dudes kind of in a squabble with the people we saw last episode. The trap house with the chick named Mouse and the other guy, I forget his name, the redheaded dude. Their whole setup ends up, because that's where the 50% off dudes, that's what we're calling them, they actually get the drugs. If you notice in the montage, they were all like dropping out their little thing. So they're pulling up, and then I guess they're on more. They're like, okay, shit, man, hey, they're just spending money, whatever. And their bags they get this time, it's like 10 or something. They get clogged in the gutter pipe. Remember, that's how they deliver. That's the delivery system, right? So they get caught. The dudes start kind of freaking out. And they have to end up calling their next guy on, higher up the hierarchy there, and come solve this problem. That's where we get the group of dudes, Nacho, Domingo, as well as Lalo and a couple other dudes. They're all sitting there playing poker. Of course, remember, Nacho's got to earn Lalo's trust. So they're kind of sitting there playing poker. It's Lalo and Domingo aka Crazy Eight, with the final two hands on the river there, and I think because Crazy Eight wants to stay, doesn't want to overstep his bounds, he ends up folding, but he folded with what was it? Yeah, 3/8, of course, the origin of Crazy Eight, and he called him, Loco Ocho, and it was great scene, man. Of course, I got a chuckle out of it. I was like, there we go. There's the origin story. So, yeah, pretty cool, man. Yeah, straight flush. That's what he had. 3/8 and two other cards on there. It was good shit, man. But then, of course, Crazy Eight's got to go and take care of the business. He gets the phone call. That was his people. With the whole, drugs getting caught in the gutter, mixed in with the 50% off dudes. You can kind of see where this is going now. Worlds kind of colliding. They haven't in a while, right? But they still got to go solve the problem. Well, Crazy Eight ends up getting caught while up on the ladder with the gutter. And then another badass scene happens when Nacho and Lalo show up, and Nacho jumping into action because the cops are already there, and to prove himself to Lalo in a way to earn his trust, just like Gus has wanted him to. He goes into action, sneaks over, fucking gets on the roof, jumps to the other roof, the roof of the Mouse house, right? Sneaks in, goes into the chair basket to get the stuff. Shoves in his pocket, busts out the back window, and is able to make it in before the narco team gets in and busts in the door. All with Lalo just loving it, man. He was sitting there oh, what is he gonna do? And he's speaking Spanish the whole time. He's like, oh, dude, this guy's crazy. And he gets in the car. And he's like, man, you're a badass. And it was it was a badass scene. And yeah, he did what was up, man. It's just he's under so much pressure. Are either of these two dudes gonna perish before the end of Better Call Saul? But because they're both mentioned in Breaking Bad, so you assume they're alive, or Saul thinks they are alive. So we'll see for sure. But man, that was great. Well, then we cut over to Saul working his magic, of course, down at the district courts, and starting out with Bill, potato chip coffee guy, talking, and then it's really cool because he's going from person to person he needs to speak to, whether it's one of his clients or another lawyer he's trying to talk to, or attorney. And it's this cool continuous shot they're doing that I really appreciated throughout the episode. They just kept kind of bouncing back and forth through that scene. He's just talking to people. At one point, he ends up running into Howard, Howard Hamlin. And it was a cool shot. I introduced it. It was like the person was inside the courtroom looking out, and it was 2 square windows. I'll see if I can get the shot on here. Over this way. It was a really cool. Just see how excited I am. It was a really cool shot, and yeah, but they didn't have much time to talk because he was already on to his next person, trying to get a 20 minutes with Susan, from last season with the whole Huel Babineau case, and Kim was getting involved, and the other attorney who was fighting her. Yeah, and also she's got a Easter egg appearance in the El Camino movie. She's on TV when they're talking about not only the death of Heisenberg, but the person who could be involved, Jesse Pinkman. Either way, are we going to see Jesse this season? I don't know. We go back to a Nacho Lalo scene. They're back at the little restaurant, and Lalo pretty much lets Nacho take over and tell the guys to head out and get back on the streets and get back to work. They have a little bite, and he kind of asks him, what's up with Crazy Eight, man? Do you trust him in there? And has he ever been locked up before, this or that? He's like, no, man, I'm cool. You want me to take care of it? And he's like, I got a different idea. And this is when it all comes together. Well, not quite. Saul gets that 20 minutes he needed with Susan because, he pulls a Saul and bribes the elevator technician or engineer to go ahead and stop the elevator when they're on it together. Of course, just coincidence. and Susan's eyes, they get to bust out like, like 7 out of their 10 cases, and come to deals on stuff. And she's surprised because he's easy to work with. And bada boom, bada bing, he gets what he wants. She, unfortunately gets what he wants. Either way, it works out for Saul. And it's Saul Goodman. He's walking out. Life's good. He's got an ice cream, strolling out for his next meeting. And, Nacho pulls up. And, man, it's been a while since these two have been in the same room. I think since season 1. They haven't seen each other since season 1, if I'm pretty sure. They may have gotten involved in season 2 at some point. But it's been that long, man. It's been a minute. And we've just been seeing their stories on separate sides. And they've finally come together. And we'll now see Saul become entangled with Nacho and Lalo, and more so with Gus and Mike too. So how is that going to fare with not only his new clients, because now he's got a priority client, and also with what's going on with Kim. And when will we see Hank and Gomez? Will they be coming in the next episode or the next episode? Soon. Will they be in more than one episode? I don't know. But yeah, either way, this episode was boom, 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 quick fire action. I mean, episode 1 was great. Episode 2 was awesome. And I heard it's like, for the first 4 episodes, it's like nonstop, just boom, boom, boom. Hey, episode 2 in the history books, it was great. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And we'll see you next time. Peace out, guys.